I'm Vinny Politan. Great to have you with us here tonight in Closing Arguments. And you know, in this part of the program, we deal with a lot of unsolved cases and missing people. And you know, sometimes there's children, sometimes it's adults, sometimes it's moms. And back in 2016, there was a case that if it happened today, we would have been covering tonight. It's the case of Sherri Papini, a mother, a wife, and she went missing. And her family was desperate to find her. Well, this story made headlines back in 2016, and then she turned up afterwards. And it was like a miracle, right? She was found. Yeah, there was some damage done to her, but she was found and she was alive and she was able to be reunited with her family. A happy ending, which is what we always hope and pray for on this show. Exactly the ending you want. You know, she was abducted and went through some terrible things, but she was found alive. And the kids could hug their mother, and mom and dad are back together. And they live happily ever after. That's what we want. Back to Sherri Papini. That was 2016. Here we are, 2022. And all of a sudden, it seems like, at least according to prosecutors, it's a whole different story. Take a listen.
We are ecstatic to report that Sherri Papini has been located and has been reunited with her family on this day of Thanksgiving. At about 4:30 this morning, the Shasta County Sheriff's Office was notified that Sherri had been located. We've also learned that Sherri was released by her captor on a rural road near Interstate 5 in Yolo County. She was bound with restraints, but was able to summon help from a passing motorist who then notified law enforcement.
That was a 2016 press conference from the Shasta County Sheriff reporting to the public that 34-year-old missing woman Sherri Papini was safely back home with her family after a weeks-long search of California and surrounding states. Sherri was found with multiple injuries, bindings on her body, and a brand mark on her right shoulder, and her long blonde hair had been cut. Sherri told authorities that she had been kidnapped at gunpoint by two Hispanic women and provided descriptions for an FBI sketch artist. After Sherri resurfaced, her husband Keith spoke to ABC News, holding back tears as he described being reunited with his wife after this entire ordeal.
Just ran past everybody and I, throw open the curtain and she was there in a bed in her poor face. And I just hugged her, I just held her.
Since Sherri's story came out, many people questioned if such a wild tale could be true. And now, authorities have announced it was not. More than 5 years after Sherri's alleged kidnapping, she's been arrested on charges of lying to federal agents and defrauding the state. Authorities say that during the time Sherri was being held by her captors, she was really staying with a former boyfriend nearly 600 miles away from her home in Orange County, and injured herself to back up the story about the kidnapping. The mail fraud charges stem from Papini being reimbursed more than $30,000 by the California Victims' Compensation Board. The money was meant for therapy to treat PTSD from the alleged kidnapping, as well as the ambulance ride to the hospital after she escaped. The fraud charges carry a penalty of up to 20 years in prison, and the charge of lying to a federal agent has a maximum 5-year sentence. Unbelievable turn of events. By the way, she was in court today. She's being held tonight in federal court, made her initial appearance. Take a look. We've got some sketches. It's federal court, no cameras, but I think the look in her eyes tells us a lot, folks, about what is going on here and these allegations. Unreal. Well, let's dive a little deeper into a couple aspects of all of this. Joining us tonight in Salt Lake City, Utah, private investigator Rob Joseph. In New Haven, Connecticut, retired FBI special agent and senior lecturer at the University of New Haven, Kenneth Gray. And in Los Angeles, California, forensic psychiatrist, trial expert witness, and columnist, Dr. Carol Lieberman is with us. Great to see everyone on this Friday night. Dr. Lieberman, I have to begin with you because this is mind-boggling to people. Your thoughts, your initial impressions of this development in this story?
Well, it's been a long time coming. You know, it really is amazing that she has been able to fool so many people for so long, including her therapist. You know, she received almost $30,000. Well, she did receive $30,000 from the government victims fund and so on. And most of that went to her therapist. And, you know, as a psychiatrist, it just boggles my mind that a therapist swallowed her story, hook, line, and sinker, and, you know, obviously did lots of therapy sessions. And in fact, she blamed the police she said that she has PTSD, and she blamed it on being re-traumatized by the police because of all of the interviews that she had to go through, and also because the so-called captors, you know, the people who she made up, who she blamed, weren't caught.
Yeah, this video we're looking at, key piece of evidence. It's purportedly her running. So if she's running, she's not like bound before she is found. Anyway, Doctor, I have one more thing I wanted to point out to you, and I wanted to get a reaction to this as well. A family statement following the arrest, and give us an idea of what they're going through. And the statement was, "We love Sherri and are appalled by the way in which law enforcement ambushed her Thursday afternoon in a dramatic and unnecessary manner in front of her children." Your thoughts about how the family deals with these developments tonight?
It's very difficult for the family because when she was so-called missing, they put out money for a reward and so on. They hired a private investigator. They really did everything they could to try to find her. And so it's a real betrayal. You know, they don't want to believe that this could just be a hoax.
All right. Rob Joseph, I want you to listen to a little bit of the criminal complaint because this was part of the investigation. How did they figure this out? There was DNA on Papini's underwear that was linked through familial search to a relative of the ex-boyfriend. Okay, so she's got DNA on her underwear that is linked to a familial search to a relative of her ex-boyfriend. The ex-boyfriend's brother's social media pages featured a table similar to the table Papini described to law enforcement in August of 2017 as the table her abductors strapped her to and branded her on. And the FBI special agents collected discarded items from the trash can outside of the ex-boyfriend's residence, and the DNA from a Honest Tea bottle, okay? You can count on Honest Tea, right? Matched the DNA from the clothing. So, Rob, what do you think of the investigation here to uncover what they believe was a hoax?
Well, good police work, most definitely. And I mean, you can't even wrap your head around why somebody would go to this much trouble. But obviously,
let me just put this out there. Jussie Smollett is going to be in court next week. She puts him to shame with the extent to which this whole thing was put together, if it was in fact a hoax. Continue, Rob. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I have a personal story about a great uncle of mine that was in an unhappy marriage and was wanting to be with somebody else, and he actually went fishing on the rocks in Australia, where I'm from, a place called Maroubra. He threw his fishing rod, some clothing, some personal items on the rocks, and they actually had a funeral for him about a month later without a body. But 2 years later, one of his children wandering a mall came across their father, and he actually spent some time in prison for faking his death and insurance fraud. And I just, for the life of me, I cannot understand how anyone would do this. But clearly, like with this particular case, law enforcement were not buying her story. And it could have been changing information, because when they're making it up and it's a lie, it's pretty hard to keep that lie constant. And so good police work, they started looking around and second guessing, and I just feel really sorry for her husband and her family that now have to be faced with the reality of what she has done, not only to herself, but to her family.
Yeah. By the way, they do have divorce attorneys in Australia, don't they?
Yeah, and
would have been cheaper.
He's passed on, so I don't mind talking about it now, but it is a family joke.
Wow. Kenneth Gray, former FBI special agent. Let me ask you about a couple of things here. The familial search. I mean, this is like a needle in a haystack. You're finding someone who has some relation to the ex-boyfriend. I don't even know how they put that all together.
Well, there's 23andMe, there is Ancestry, there's a lot of commercial DNA databases that are out there. And so you search through these commercial databases for somebody that would be related. But, this story stank from as soon as she was found. She was very vague as to the description of her abductors. They worked with a sketch artist, but she didn't give real clear descriptions of the abductors. Everything stinks about her story, and that's why the law enforcement agents, both the Shasta County officers and the FBI that were working this case, they knew that she was lying. It's just a matter of trying to come up with the proof. And so they did a marvelous job with showing the DNA trail to her. In reality, showing that she was not really abducted, but that she was off on a jolly here with her ex-boyfriend.
It's unreal. Dr. Carol Lieberman, I want you to take a listen. I'm going to read more from this criminal complaint. And again, it gets into the extent that she went, and I want you to tell me what that tells us about her. On August 10th, 2020, investigators interviewed ex-boyfriend. He admitted he helped Papini run away. He said Papini told him that her husband was beating and raping her and she was trying to escape. He said Papini sent him a care package that included the location where she wanted him to pick her up. Then the ex-boyfriend said she purposely chopped off her hair and purposely lost weight. Chopped off her own hair and was losing weight to look like she had been abducted. She injured herself. She made bruises. She burned herself. And she asked him to brand her right shoulder. And he did. Dr. Lieberman, I mean, she's doing all this almost like self-mutilation stuff. And I don't understand. What do you think's going on here?
Well, this is really something that started when she was young. According to her mother, her mother called the police when she was around a teenager or around that age, because she had been hurting herself then, harming herself, cutting herself, burning herself, making various injuries, and blaming it on the mother. So the mother contacted authorities to make sure that they knew that no, it wasn't the mother who was doing this. And she apparently, lots of people that they've spoken to have said she's a liar. She's done these kinds of things before. And so it's a pattern. And I think, she was really rather bored probably in her, she had she created drama. Wherever she went, she created drama.
Let me ask you, Dr. Lieberman, do you think was it more about sneaking away the excitement to be with the ex-boyfriend, or was it all the attention she was going to get when she came back?
Oh, it was all of that. But it's sad also. The ex-boyfriend, of course, was hoping, and he got that impression from her. They were communicating for quite some time before he actually picked her up, and he was hoping that they were going to get back together. So she used that. She used her ex-boyfriend, as maybe she thought she was going to stay with him and run away from her husband, and then she changed her mind. She felt bad about leaving her kids. That, I don't know. We don't know yet. But certainly, one of the things that's interesting is she blamed it on two Hispanic women. She had pictures drawn with a sketch artist and all that. She drew the pictures of these supposed abductors. And she had written a blog post years and years ago where she wrote about how when she was in high school, she used to get into fights with the Hispanic clique that was in her high school. So, you know, some of the things from her past, she invented. I mean, she took these things from her past and she put it together in this incredible story that she made up, you know, to both for the attention and you know, perhaps this fantasy of going away on a more exciting life.
It's really a shocking story. It was shocking then. It's even more shocking. Again, she was in court today. She's presumed innocent, and we'll see how that case continues to evolve.